slow combat engines have worn out now, and time for a bit of renewal in that department after 10 years. Traditionally I've used, the traditional choice in New Zealand slow combat, which has been the ASP 15, the original Mark 1 version. And they've been, I guess, the number one choice for about 20 years now. Mine are probably 10, 15 years old. And only one of them is still reliable. Hard to get these days, in fact almost impossible, but you could up until recently still get the ASP 12, which is virtually the same engine but with a slightly smaller bore. So here I am with a brand new ASP 12. It's had a couple of runs. It's not quite as fast, and the aim is to get it to do 16,000 RPM with the same fuel, the same prop as the ASP 15 would do. Run it with a 4mm Venturi and did about just under 15,000. So drive 4.5mm Venturi, see if we can get 16,000. Not quite there, probably needs a bit more running, but may try going to a 4.8mm Venturi. Okay, we've done the switcheroo and put the engine number 2 in here. So we'll give this one a go and see if it's going to deliver the results we're looking for. I expect it to be a little bit, about the same, 15.7 or something like that. So let's start it up. So we're back to engine number 1 now, but this time we're going to use 10% nitro, 20% oil, the same fuel that I usually use in a combat contest. So one would presume it would be slightly slower than the 15 nitro, 25 oil, but you never know until you try it, so here we go. It's pretty good, actually slightly faster. I guess the reduced oil content is responsible for that. But yeah, 15,900, that's basically close enough that I can probably just leave it with a 4.5 mil Venturi and chuck it into a model. And here we are with engine number 2, this time on the 10% nitro, 20% oil fuel. We'll see if it is faster. This one had been running a little slower than number 1, but once again, you've got to try it to find out. There we go, not quite as fast again, so might have to look into what difference there are between these two. I think that one has slightly lower head clearance, 9 thou, 8 thou. Yeah, but they're pretty close, so nearly there. Alright, we're back. Number 2 engine again. The slightly slower of the two, and this time it's got a 5mm Venturi. So let's see what kind of difference that makes. 20% oil and 10% nitro again. There we go. So it's faster, but still not as fast as the other one. So going from 4.5 to 5mm Venturi made a couple of hundred RPM difference, but not much. So there's some other limiting factor inside the engine that's probably just slightly different inside, because it's a cheap engine and they're not made very precisely. But faster than the 15s that they'll be replacing. Not quite as fast as the best one that I've still got in circuit, which does 16,500 RPM on the same prop of fuel. They'll do the work.